Welcome to another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. And folks, today's guest, if I had had a show 5 or 6 years ago, he would not be with me today. But, it isn't easy to admit when you've gone wrong or when you've made a bad decision, and I should know, I have made plenty of those. My next guest has done it in a pretty big and courageous way. He's a Republican who decided to step out of the comfortable sunlight of MAGA Nation and step into the lonely shadows of Never Trumpism. This former Republican congressman lost his lucrative talk show and even ran against Mango Mussolini in the 2020 GOP presidential primary. He's a man caught between two worlds of why did you leave Trump and why didn't you leave Trump sooner? And we are fortunate to have him here with us to ask him some of those burning questions. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the host of the podcast, White Flag with Joe Walsh. Joe Walsh.
Hey,
welcome, Joe.
My brother and friend, it is an honor to be with you. I mean that. I am a fan of yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm glad to have you here. Now, I want to tell you guys something. Joe asked me before the show. He's like, look, don't pull any punches. Just bring it the way you would normally bring it. I'm like, Joe, don't worry about it. I got this. And so I'm going to start the show off with one of the hardest hitting questions anybody's ever asked you. Your name is William Joseph Walsh. Most folks call you Joe. Where's Bill? What happened?
My mom and dad. I was named William Joseph Walsh at birth. The story goes that after about 5 or 6 months, my mom looked at me and said, "He's not a Billy." And my dad said, "Let's call him Joey." And son of a gun, it stuck ever since then. So I've been Joe, still Joey to my mom and dad.
Nice. Now, I want to ask you about your wife. About a month ago, I believe, you posted a tweet, and I'm just going to put it up here on the screen. It says, "This will be the last picture I post of my bride with hair on her head for quite a while. That's okay. It just means for the next however many months, I'll be married to a beautiful, bald woman. I'm fine with that. F Cancer, Helene 731 is a fighter." That is your lovely better half. How is she doing? How are things going?
Hey, thanks for asking. And I'll say it. I don't know if I have to watch my language here. Correct me if I do. Fuck cancer. I mean, as so many people watching and listening to us now can relate. My bride is doing well. She has breast cancer. She's in the thralls of chemotherapy right now. Chemo sucks, man. They put poison into your body to kill shit. And it does a pretty good job of that, but it also kills some good stuff as well. Yeah. So she's a fighter. She's fighting through this like so many women out there. She will survive and she will continue to thrive, but it's a battle.
Yeah, I went through that with my mom. It is tough. And I guess the positive outlook helps. What stage is this?
It was stage 2. It was caught relatively early. She had a mastectomy in early January, so she lost her left breast, and they found that a few of the bad cells got out of the breast into a lymph node. So they've put her on this chemo protocol. But like so many of our listeners know, the advances they've made in breast cancer, in the treatment of breast cancer, and even chemotherapy. This ain't your grandma's chemotherapy. So most women survive with breast cancer, just like you and I, a couple of lugs. Most men survive with prostate cancer as well.
Well, that is a relief. And my prayers and my family's prayers are with you and your family and your wife. We wish you the best.
You're so dang nice. I really appreciate you asking, my friend.
So I got to ask you now, are you now picking up a larger share of the chores?
I can't lie. You know, my fatal flaw in politics is I cannot tell a lie. No, I am an absolute load around the house. I've been a really good caregiver, but I grew up in a family of 9. The house was always messy. I've never been good about picking up, taking care, chores, shit like that. So I'm trying, but it's not easy.
Well, you got to get better with that, buddy. You gotta pick up the slack. What about shopping? Do you where do you like to go for your groceries?
All right, here's Joe Walsh inside baseball. I hate the fucking grocery store. I get scared. I literally.
You don't look scared in that picture, Joe.
I know that. By the way, I look pretty buff in that picture. I get nervous when I'm in a grocery store. Like when my wife sends me out to buy stuff and I've got a list, I panic. Grocery stores confuse me. They scare me. They're huge. It's just kind of like big airports. I can't stand big airports. I get lost all the time. So that's one of the toughest things I'm trying to learn how to do is grocery.
Do you have a favorite supermarket out of all the ones that you hate?
Well, you know, I'm kind of I'm a beer guy and a shot of tequila guy. I'm regular Joe. I love Whole Foods. I find Whole Foods kind of soothing and comforting as far as grocery stores go.
I think I've been in Whole Foods about 3 times, and each one of those times I've been there, I get hungry. I instantly get hungry. Yeah.
And there's a lot you can grab.
Indeed. So let me ask you this now. I'm sticking with the tough questions. Okay.
Oh, I know. Hey, I know you're going to fire on me, and I can't wait.
How do you spend your downtime relaxing? Do you play any of those Wordle games?
I do not.
You've heard of Wordle,
I'm going to guess. Right? I'm going to guess that in your downtime, in your private time, because you're a warrior as well, I'll bet you're much more interesting than I am. In my downtime, I play with my dogs. I watch old Hollywood movies. And I try to get outside and get in the sun. I fucking love the sun.
Mm-hmm. And just right on cue, like the sun came out from behind the clouds. That's cool. So I understand you are you were born and raised in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Why don't I even hear a trace of the Bears?
The Bears.
The Bears.
Well, here's the funny thing. Like, I grew up with Walter Payton. I loved Walter Payton, but I was never a Bears fan. I come from a family with a dad who was a big Bears fan. I had 7 brothers. They were all Bears fans. It got pounded into me, just like Notre Dame. I come from the part of the country where, and I'm Catholic, you had to love Notre Dame. I grew up despising Notre Dame. Same way with the Bears. I've generally been, I hate to say this, a Packers fan most of my life.
Interesting. I when you say Notre Dame, I do hear a bit of that Chicago in you. Notre Dame.
Well, there is a Chicago accent, no doubt. No doubt.
Now you're in DC right now. Is that a big culture change for you?
It is. When I lived in Chicago, I lived in the congressional district I represented. Again, out in the country, because I love to be all alone. And I had a big piece of land, and I would walk that land in my boxers and play with my dogs. I was private. I'm living in a city now, and I'm not used to this. So it is a big change. I like it. You know, you can walk to a restaurant or a bar. I'm a big tequila guy. I love that. I do miss the country, though.
Okay. Now, you began your career as a social worker, correct me if I'm wrong, providing education and job
Yep.
skills training to students in low income areas, gradually becoming more politically active. That sounds a lot like a certain community organizer to me. I don't know. It sounds a little socialist, if you ask me.
Well,
What led you to social work? What led you to doing that?
Obama and I come from the same part of the world, Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I've been called a community organizer like the former president. Um, I've always been cause driven. I've always wanted to devote my life to making shit better. I'm not a big government guy. I believe in a very small government. I
Mm-hmm.
believe people need to help those who are less fortunate than I was. So it's why I got into social work and why I got into teaching. I felt it was just my responsibility to practice as I preached and literally hands on help people who needed help.
Interesting. We're learning more about you every minute that goes
Don't
by in
you,
this
you're
show.
making me sound out to be like a do-gooder, like a Democrat. Don't you dare do that. Don't you dare do that, my friend.
So you ran a few times for office in the 90s. You were not successful until 2010 when you were swept into office with the Tea Party's backing. Was it the policies that you proposed that got you elected, or was it the wave of Tea Party anger?
It was the wave, man. It was the anger. And I rode that wave because I related to the anger. I was angry.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you and I, if we sat down for 5 hours, probably most things politically we disagree. But I was pissed off back in 2010. And
Mm-hmm.
generally, I was pissed off at both political parties because we were racking up this debt, which I felt was going to bankrupt my kids and my grandkids. And I was an equal opportunity pissed off guy. I got as mad at John Boehner and the Republicans as I did Barack Obama and the Democrats. But that's what took me to Congress.
All right, Joe. Now I've told you this before. I was not always a fan of you. No secret there. In fact, I know you were part of the Tea Party. I believe that was probably a prerequisite for being a member. You hate Obama? Okay, you're he checks out. How do we know that you've gotten all of that Tea Party crazy stuff out of your system?
Man, I love you.
Or have you?
No, I haven't, and I'll explain. But I love the questions you're asking. They're making me think. So no, I have not gotten all the Tea Party out of me. I still call myself a proud Tea Partier, but to say that, you have to understand what I'm saying. The Tea Party to me was all about government is too damn big and we're bankrupting future generations.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Tea Party was to me. And with hindsight, now that was only half of the Tea Party. The other half was this ugly, bigoted, nationalist, populist thing, i.e., Obama is bad.
You mean like this?
And I'll get to that, right? Obama's bad, keep black and brown people out of America. That was the uglier side of the Tea Party.
Mm-hmm. So,
and by the way, there's a perfect example. So I called Barack Obama a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
I said a lot of stupid shit back then.
Let me just pause you for a second. For the folks who are listening to our show, I have a tweet up on the screen now that reads, it's from Joe Walsh. It's from 2016, December 2016. For the past week, everybody has been asking again why Obama hates Israel. The answer is simple, really. I think Obama is Muslim. Boom. And that was a chain of tweets that, were similar in tone. Yeah. Have at it. What was the thinking behind that?
Well, a few things to have at. Uh, I have publicly apologized and it's been hard on a very big public stage for 4 or 5 years about things
Mhm.
I've said and done. That one right there, and I'm glad you put it up. If boy, I'll tell you what, if I could take back 1 or 2 or 3 tweets, it would be the whole Barack Obama is Muslim.
Mm.
That is an example of me caring about an issue, but then I got so fucking carried away because I'm on the radio. So I'm trying to rile up my conservative audience. Why does Obama hate Israel? Oh, it must be because he's Muslim. That's an example of me purposely getting over my skis to inflame my audience. I
So let me
didn't
just
do,
clarify. Did
yeah,
you know that that was not true?
yes.
You did.
Yes.
Okay.
Again, I can't lie. I
Hmm.
I got caught up. I got caught up, and I'm trying to fire up my right wing audience. But that would be
Understood.
an example where if you asked me after the show, Joe, do you really believe Barack Obama is a Muslim? I'd go like this. No, I just I let it rip, and yeah, I feel bad about that.
Now,
But
let me
go
just
ahead.
ask you now, do you think watching what we're seeing from folks like Tucker Carlson or Sean Hannity, do you think they are following the exact same playbook in that they don't believe the stuff that they're telling their viewers, but they do it because they have a base and they have an audience and they need to keep them stoked?
It's half and half, my friend. Half of half of these people believe it. So I was in the right wing media world and the right wing congressional world. I got
Mhm.
out of it because I was not happy with stuff like that. And then Trump got elected, and this is all the shit he said all the time. So I'm
Yeah.
always asked, do the Republicans in Congress believe the stuff they say? Do the guys on Fox News believe what they say? And I
Mhm.
generally believe it's about half and half. Some of them do. Sean Hannity is an idiot. He believes this shit.
Hmm.
Tucker Carlson is a smart guy. He's
Yeah.
just putting shit out there to scare his audience. It goes
Okay.
both
So
ways.
so the smart folks like you don't believe the stuff, and the knuckleheads they do. Yeah.
Oh
All
yeah,
right.
and like a knucklehead like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah.
She believes this shit.
Hmm.
Um, a smart guy like I'm trying to think of a smart Republican in Congress. Many of them don't, but they're scared to death because if they don't say Donald Trump is the greatest and echo and Joe Biden didn't win fair and square
Yeah.
and January 6th was no big deal, if they
Hmm.
don't say things like that, they won't get reelected and they'll lose their Fox News audience. So that's why most of them keep doing this. And by the way, go ahead. That's my
Did
favorite one.
Did you get any visits from Secret Service with the Musket? Just so for my readers who are viewers who are listening, on the screen now is Joe's tweet. It says, "On November 8th, I'm voting for Trump. On November 9th, if Trump loses, I'm grabbing my musket. You in?" Now, I don't even think there's any working models of the musket right now. And if there were, they wouldn't be all that effective in waging war against our Uzi carrying National Guard members. What was the thinking behind this
So,
tweet?
my brother, that's an example of a tweet that was completely misunderstood, and I love it and I stand by it.
Mm,
Um, that came out 10 days before the 2016 election. That's and boy, I'll tell you, MSNBC, everybody on MSNBC went after me for a week.
mm,
I was trying to be funny.
mm.
As you said, a musket, what the hell can you do with a musket if you're
It takes
upset
like
and
two
you're going
minutes
to
to
go to
load that
Washington?
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to make a joke, and I was trying to say because I sent out another Musket tweet the morning of the election, and I said, no matter who wins, Hillary or Trump, I'm grabbing my musket and I'm fighting for freedom and limited government. I love that meme. And what it meant for me was I'm just going to fight for the things I believed in. If I wasn't joking, I would have said, I'm going to grab my AR-15, which would have been serious.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me ask you this. Has the Tea Party, as you knew it, has it devolved into QAnon?
A big part of it. So I told you that there were two strands to the Tea Party movement. One of them was limit government spending, do something about the debt. The other was this, again, ugly, bigoted, nationalist, populist, keep black and brown people out of the country strand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When we went to Washington in 2010, us Tea Partiers, and we didn't do shit about the debt. And I found out in an afternoon that Republicans don't care about the debt any more than Democrats do. And then folks back home the next few years, the Tea Party folks, they got pretty pissed because we didn't do what we said we were going to do. So then the uglier side of them came out. And that's what Trump tapped into in 2016 was that.
The far right of the Tea Party, and the Tea Party was already far right of the right wing of the Republican Party. So the most extreme elements of the Tea Party kind of eventually morphed into what we now know as QAnon today, which is just batshit crazy.
They embraced all this culture war bullshit. Again, instead of the reason I ran for Congress was let's do something about the debt. Forget about that. And again, now with hindsight, Republicans don't care about the debt. And truthfully, most Tea Party voters out there, I can say 10 years later, don't give us a damn about the debt. Look at the debt that Trump racked up, and none of these people said anything. So it forever makes me sad because it did turn out to be an uglier, more nationalist movement than I ever wanted to be a part of. But I helped get it there. I can't deny that.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm hearing you say is that you had legitimate concerns about the debt and whatever, and possibly a significant number of people who were also members of the Tea Party also had legitimate concerns, but then it got hijacked by the louder, more extreme elements of that movement. And is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, but we were pretty loud and extreme, screaming about the debt. I mean, one good way to look at it is
no, but I'm talking about that nationalist element.
Oh,
the ones that were burning effigies of Obama and spitting in the face of. I'll never forget seeing that shit. I saw people spitting in the face of black members of Congress as they were walking into the building. That was just, it was hateful and scary, actually. I remember seeing a lot of racist imagery, around that movement. And, for me, anyone who was associated with that movement was also co-signing it,
So what I've got to do, and I'm going to do it, is write a book about what the hell the Tea Party was, because I think it's complicated. And I think it's misunderstood a lot on both sides. You are correct. And I saw it back then, this anti-Obama and anti-people who don't look like us. I saw it and I heard it, and I didn't do enough to address it. And you know what? That's on me, because then it grew and now it dominates that. And I wish I had addressed it stronger. I would have congressional town halls, and I'd be talking about the debt and the size of government. And then after the town hall, Tea Party people would come up to me and ask me questions. Most of the questions they asked me were about Obama.
Really?
And where was he born? And he's ruining America. I wish I had sat down these people more back then and educated them.
I don't think you'd have been able to. Frankly, seeing what we see today, like from QAnon, for instance, they're not interested. The truth is out there. The truth of all of these, the truth that would knock down most of these conspiracy theories and these hateful beliefs. The truth is out there. If it's available, if they want it, they don't want it. They want to stay riled up and angry against this, invisible boogeyman that they've created.
I agree. I mean, since Trump, these people have become fully radicalized. They don't believe in the truth. They no longer believe in democracy. They want a dictator. They've become radicalized. I guess what I'm saying is, when it really started 10 or 11 years ago with the Tea Party, we had a window there where they weren't radicalized. They were riled up, but the party ignored them. And then people like me kind of let them get riled up. And by the time Trump came along, they were gone.
You, Joe, you were making a living championing Trump on the right as a conservative commentator. What was it that finally pushed you away from Trump? Was there one thing, a straw that broke the camel's back, that made you say, nope, the money's not worth it? What was it what pushed you away from him?
So I'm going to push back a tad. You're right. I supported Trump in 2016 and I voted for him. I wasn't like a gung-ho enthusiastic supporter. In fact, he blocked me on Twitter really early in that campaign because I would criticize him.
Interesting.
And then he disinvited me to the White House after he won, and there's a lot of shit. But the reason I got behind Trump was because I understood, and I still believe this, how fucked up and broken our political system is. I believed then, and maybe you agree, I thought our system needed a disruptor, some disruption. I mean, Trump's evil and horrible. We didn't need evil disruption. So, and the people who voted for Trump were my supporters, my fans. So I understood what they were angry about. But you know what? I screwed up big time in 2016 because I didn't pay enough attention to Trump. I didn't pay attention to him until after he won. I didn't realize what a bad, fucking horrible man he was. And again, all I can do is apologize. That's on me.
Mm-hmm. I have heard you make this mea culpa many times.
But
no,
you know
I have.
You know what's funny, Brooklyn Dad? You know what's funny, my friend? I say it a lot because I mean it. This is really hard. On a very public stage for 5 years, I fucked up. And to say that when you're sitting in an ABC or an NBC studio and to say, I fucked up and I'm sorry, that's hard.
Oh, I know it. And that's why I'm not trying to rake you over the coals.
Well, you should.
In fact,
you should.
Like I explained in the beginning of the show, wasn't a fan of yours. But then I've watched over the years. Like, let's take, for instance, 2019. 2019, you decided you were going to run against Trump. And, I would say it was considered foolhardy and possibly even dangerous to do so. Your slogan was "Be brave." Yeah?
Yes, be brave.
Here's a tweet on the screen I have here that you posted. Why did I write this piece? I believe this was accompanying an article that you wrote. 2 reasons. First, I wanted to make clear that Donald Trump is unfit to be president, and he must be challenged in the Republican primary. And second, I wanted to apologize for the role I played in helping to put an unfit con man in the White House. I mean, were you terrified every minute you were running against him? What was that like? I mean, I know how rabid his followers are.
Every moment. From the time I publicly turned against Trump in 2017 and then 2018, every moment I've been afraid, because every moment, every day, every week I get threats. And that's a lay of the land when you're a
Still?
huh?
Still?
Oh God, yeah.
Hmm.
Because I still use every platform I have to go after him, because I still consider him an existential threat. And I was going to say this to you. I don't mind you raking me over the coals, because I helped put Trump in the White House. I mean, I'm going to go to my grave knowing that. Imagine that. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I wrote that piece for the New York Times in 2019, because by then I was well off of Team Trump. I was getting threats. I was losing all of my supporters, all of my friends, all of my followers. I was losing my radio show. I was losing all of my income and my livelihood. And so I wrote a piece in the New York Times and I said, I've lost everything, but damn it, somebody stand up and challenge him. Come on, Mitt Romney, where the hell are you? John Kasich, somebody challenge him. None of these people would. And then I did something really stupid. I don't regret doing it. In late August of 2019, I said, the hell with it. I'm going to run against him because somebody has to.
Mm-hmm. And so you knew that your chances were slim to none. So why do that?
Well, when I announced I'm running against Trump, I knew my chances were slim. 3 weeks after I announced against Trump, Trump got the Republican Party to cancel 22 primaries and caucuses across the country.
I remember that.
I mean, 3 fucking weeks after I got in, all of a sudden, all of these elections have been canceled.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting down with my campaign team and we looked at each other and we said, well, now we can't win. We have no primaries.
Yeah.
So
No
by that,
debates.
but why did I do it? Because I believed in my heart that I was still a Republican at the time, that some Republican had to say on a large platform, fuck this guy. This is not my Republican Party. This is not why I've been a Republican my whole fucking life.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I know Mitt Romney, John Kasich, they don't talk that way, but I knew somebody like me had to.
Do you still consider yourself a Republican?
No. So after I lost the Iowa caucuses the following February, I went on CNN the next day and I said, I have 2 announcements to make. 3,
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm ending my challenge to Trump. 1. 2, I'm no longer a Republican. I am officially leaving the party. And I said, 3, I'm going to work my balls off and do everything I can this year to help the Democratic candidate win. I don't care if it's Bernie. I don't care if it's Buttigieg. I don't care if it's Biden. I'm going to devote my life in 2020 to making sure Trump loses and supporting the Democratic nominee. And oh, by the way, then the threats started up again in earnest.
Of course they did. Of course they did. But so your beliefs, though, I would say your beliefs, they probably tack closer to Republican than they do to Democrat. Yeah? That's
well, I'm not a moderate. I've never been a moderate Republican. I've always been like a libertarian conservative. That has no home in this Republican Party. And look, I've had a lot of pressure in the last 2 years, like a lot of never Trumpers have, to join the Democratic Party. And I've thought seriously about it. And I still think about it. I do. But I'll be honest, and I'd love your opinion on this. I don't think the Democratic Party would take somebody like me. And I say that respectfully. I'm too conservative. So I don't know that I have a home right now.
I believe that that the Democratic Party actually does have a wide tent. There are, I guess, Rust Belt Democrats and blue collar Democrats that are, that share some of the Democratic liberal sensibilities, but some of them, they tend to be more socially conservative, fiscally conservative. There's a wide tent.
I believe that. No, you're right. I believe that the Democratic Party is certainly a bigger tent than the Republican Party is.
Yeah.
But I'm pro-life. I'm a big gun guy. I'm a big Second Amendment guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just like it's tough to be a pro-choice Republican or an anti-gun Republican. I think the flip is true too. But I still think about it, because here's the other thing. I worry about the Democratic Party right now. Trump's going to run again. And I saw a poll this morning. Trump's beating Biden head up. The Democratic Party, I worry, is weak. And I don't see a fucking fighter, man or woman, in the Democratic Party who would take on that bastard and call him out. I like Joe Biden a lot, but he's not 50 years old anymore.
Yeah. So I actually do have a question for you. My question is, Trump is out of office now, and despite the fact that he's still got the balls of Kevin McCarthy in his pocket, and much of the elected officials are afraid of him, he does seem to be fading in influence. Is that a mirage, or are we still in danger from Trump?
You're smoking something, my friend. And I love you, and I want to be smoking what you're smoking. If you think, and this is what pisses me off, you don't piss me off, but like I go on CNN and MSNBC, and you got all these smart political insiders on MSNBC or CNN, and they're all so hopeful that Trump's going to be gone that they look for any tea leaf to say that Donald Trump's hold on the Republican Party ain't what it is. It is what it is. And these people don't live what I live every day. Because I come from Trump world, every single day still, I engage with hundreds of Republican Party base voters. Donald Trump's hold on the party now is stronger than it was the day before January 6th. It's his party, period. If he wants to run for president in 2024, nobody will challenge him.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
So how do we snap MAGA out of its distorted reality?
Most of MAGA
can
probably never be snapped back into reality. Because when we talk about MAGA, what are we talking about? We're talking about older, middle-aged and older white men and women. Mm-hmm. Older white men and women are pretty set in their ways, and older white men and women die. I mean, eventually they die. Yeah. So most of them can't be saved. Now, because of what I've done, every week I engage with MAGA because I'm a reformed gangbanger. I got out of the gang. So I'm trying to get other MAGAs out of the MAGA gang. And I'll tell you what, my brother, every week I get a few out, not thousands, but a few. I help escape the cult every single week.
That's
and
interesting.
I have found the only way to do it is to respectfully but toughly, very tough, put the truth in front of them. Like Joe Biden won the 2020 election. No, he didn't, Joe. And so then we have a talk about that. And eventually, if I just keep putting the truth in front of them, where's the proof that it was stolen? Sooner or later, the light bulb goes off.
And what do they say to you? What do they like? How do you know that you've converted them? How do you know you've wrangled them out of there?
Typically, it's something like this. What the fuck? I've been lied to. What the fuck? Trump conned me. There was no voter fraud. Yeah, that's right. Why didn't Trump's team succeed legally at all? Man, I was lied to. Once they get there, then I hug them and you know you got them.
Interesting. Wow. So I think I could be wrong. I think that has to come from folks like you, as opposed to folks like me. I don't know if they would accept it from a liberal Democrat. Right? Am I right?
They may love you as a man, but they're not going to listen to a damn thing you say. They're not going to listen to any liberal on MSNBC or CNN. It's got to be somebody like me who was part of their family, and I got out, and now I'm trying to rescue others in my family. They know, look, most of them hate me. A lot of them hate me personally, but they don't think I'm a liberal. They know I'm a conservative, and so they'll listen to me.
Interesting. I like it. Okay, my next question is whether it's Dr. Seuss or M&M's or Mr. Potato Head or unracist baby, the GOP seems keen on waging a culture war with Democrats, and I haven't seen much pushback there. Are the culture wars a trap? And if we engage in this, do we lose?
Again, this is why I'd so love to be a Democrat, because you got to fight this culture war shit. Look, the Republicans engage in this stuff. Why? Because it works. It fires up their audience, their base, and it makes people in the middle think. Like the Don't Say Gay bill down in Florida. Yeah, it's a scary, dangerous, ambiguous bill, but there's a little kernel of truth in it that most Americans support. I don't want my kindergarten age child being
learning
taught about
sex.
This shit.
Right.
Democrats don't engage in these issues when it comes to CRT, critical race theory, and the LGBTQ issues. Most Americans are fair, reasonable, and inclusive. But the Democrats are afraid to engage on this stuff. And because of it, they're losing voters. And that's a shame.
I personally, I watch MSNBC, and I have seen commentators and guests on the show. They push back on it, but I don't think that's not reaching people where they live, because the majority of people aren't watching MSNBC, right? So they've got to.
Now,
right?
more people are listening to us right now than watching MSNBC. The whole media landscape has changed, right? People don't go to MSNBC or CNN or ABC for their news. Fox is a weird thing. That's a different thing. But no, you're right. It can't come from Joy Reid or Chris Hayes or Nicole Wallace. Who cares what they say?
Right.
And I say this as a former elected official. I need a Democratic senator to say what I'm saying right now. I need a Democratic candidate for president to say what I'm saying right now. Mm-hmm. Democratic voters would listen to that.
I got to say, it amuses me how angry you get that the Democrats are not hitting Republicans as hard or as frequently as they need to. It's amusing. You seem more riled up than other Democrats that I know, and that's part of the problem.
I'm pissed off because the Republican Party, my former political party, is a danger to this country. But you know what? They're going to win back the House this year, and they'll probably win back the Senate. And if Trump were running against Biden next week, he'd probably beat him. Wake the fuck up, Democrats. This is serious stuff, and you have to fight, and you've got to fight for these issues. But the Democrats don't do that. So it does make me angry, because if the Democrats don't wake up and fight, we're in trouble.
I think I need to call the name of this episode "Wake the Fuck Up, Democrats."
Oh my God! Yes. Hey. Last point. I
appreciate your energy on that.
And maybe this is the last point I'll make on this. Mm-hmm. Because I come from this world, and because I hear from these people every day. And I say our democracy is hanging by a thread. It's because of what these people tell me every day. And I wish Democrats could hear what I hear every day.
Thank you for that, Joe. We come to the part of the show where this is called Twitter Tips and Tricks. And basically, what I'm asking you to do is to share with our viewers tips or tricks that you have learned or acquired over the years that you've been using the Twitter, the Bird app. What are things that you have done that have helped your tweets go viral, that have helped you get better engagement with your audience, helped you grow more followers, anything like that? What can you tell our viewers?
Probably the most important tips I'd give would go like this: be bold, be brief, or go home. Be bold, man. When you tweet something, it's got to be a punch. I mean, a thoughtful punch, a punch you can back up, but it's got to be a punch. And be brief. If you can say what you're going to say in 7 or 8 words instead of 140, whatever the characters are now, be brief.
Yeah.
The best tweets are brief. They punch you into reality, and they're brief. If you can learn to do that, man, you'll do well.
Very, very good. Those are the tips and tricks from Joe Walsh. And
you should give me some tips and tricks because you're the pro.
Let me make sure our viewers get this here. If you want to follow Joe Walsh on Twitter, and I think you should, he's got some good things to say. It's at Walsh Freedom, at WALSH Freedom.
Thank you.
Freedom. I don't have to spell that for you. Freedom. Okay. My next question is about your podcast, and it's called White Flag. So the white flag is typically, it's a symbol associated with surrender.
Yes.
So what message are you sending with White Flag?
I'm done fighting and trying to divide this country. I want a truce, and I want to talk to people. Very few people have done more than me the last 10 years to help divide this country. I now am trying to spend the rest of my life making up for that. So this podcast, White Flag with Joe Walsh, and by the way, you're coming on soon, it's me for an hour sitting down with someone who does not think like me, maybe about a particular issue, maybe about overall philosophy. And for an hour, we try to see if we can find some common ground. We really try to see if we can model how to have respectful conversations with people who disagree with you in a world that just doesn't do it. It's a lot of fun.
I like it. I like it. I've listened to a few episodes. They're very good. Very good. Something you can feel proud of. How is your podcast different from the radio show you had in terms of the kind of feedback that you're getting from the audience? Do you have hate listeners? People who just tune in because they hate you.
Yeah, I have tons of hate listeners, and I've always had that because, and you're like this. If you ask me a question, I'm going to say what I think. I was this way when I was in Congress. If you ask me a question, I'm going to give you an answer. No bullshit, nothing politically correct. And people tend to either love that or hate it. It's the same way when I'm on TV or the radio or in this podcast. Life is too short to bullshit. And that tends to generate strong audiences on both sides, love and hate.
Excellent. Where can folks tune in to White Flag? Where can they find your podcast?
Well, I kind of suck at the lingo. I'm supposed to say, hey, wherever you go to get your podcast, you can get White Flag with Joe Walsh. It's everywhere, Apple and every other podcast platform. White Flag is up there and on.
There it is. Guys, wherever you get your podcasts, just type in White Flag and you should find Joe's podcast. Now, we come to that segment of our show that I like to call Quick Hits. That actually, that graphic hits a little bit differently, especially since the
Right?
events of a few days ago. By now,
Yep.
I'm sure you've seen the slap heard around the world. There have been many, many, many takes on whether Will Smith was right or Chris Rock was wrong. Both of them were wrong. Um, what's your take on this?
Easy. Will Smith was wrong. Will Smith committed a crime. He assaulted someone.
Mm-hmm.
End of story. And the only second take I'd add is, you know what? When they write the book about the end of the American Empire in a couple hundred years, there's going to be a chapter about how easily people were offended by comedians. I
Mm-hmm.
find this whole thing bull crap that you have a right to protest a comedian. You have a right to get angry at a comedian. You have a right to leave. You don't have a right to hit a comedian on stage. End of
Mm-hmm.
story.
I have a question from one of our viewers here, Gavin Rutherford, who is asking if Donald Trump had said something that hurt your partner or spouse, would you punch him or just give him an Oscar slap, or would you do anything at all?
Uh, Gavin. It's a great question. If I were sitting where Will Smith was the other night, and I'm sitting next to my wife who's balding because of her cancer, and
Uh-huh.
Chris Rock made a joke about my wife's bald head who's got cancer, I might have chuckled, and I might have then just had a stone face. But there's no way I would get up on stage and slap Chris Rock for
Yeah.
making fun of my wife who had cancer. It's
Mm-hmm.
comedy. It's a joke. My wife and I both probably would have laughed.
Okay. Now, my own take on that is,
Yeah.
I saw Will Smith laugh at first.
Yes.
I saw him laugh at first, and then I saw him walk up onto the stage, slap him, walk back, and then yell at Chris. And you know what? He could have just cut out the whole slap him. He could have yelled at him from the seat without getting up and assaulting him. And I think that would have been fine. I mean, it would have been as shocking, but it would not have been a assault.
Well said. And he would have been a bit of a hero if he had done that.
Yeah, yeah. You can defend your wife, with your words. You can do that.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm kind of tired of this story kind of dominating the news on Twitter, and I'd like to get back to more substantial topics like the confirmation hearings. We just witnessed a week of confirmation hearings for the nomination of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, in which GOP senators attempted to smear her as somehow being soft on crime and specifically on child pornography offenders. Joe, what the hell is wrong with those guys?
They're doing what works for them. Again, they're appealing to their base. It's all the culture war stuff, even in a Supreme Court nomination hearing. They're appealing to their base. Look, Judge Jackson is eminently qualified. Every United States senator should vote for her. It's a shame they won't. We used to have that day in America where as long as a nominee was qualified, he or she got everybody's vote. We don't have that day anymore. This is a stupid, politicized process. And I'll tell you what, it was the Republicans this time. Both sides have gotten us here. Both sides do this shit.
We are a polarized nation, and it's going to be a while before we get back to some semblance of normalcy.
Yes.
Over the weekend, President Biden said during his speech that Putin cannot be allowed to stay in power, remarks that were apparently off the teleprompter and were quickly walked back by the White House. And then President Biden came out and said, "Nah, I'm not walking back shit." I said what I said. Do you agree or disagree with his statement, and why?
It was not a gaffe, and I'm damn glad he said it. Every American supports what he said. Everybody in the world who believes in freedom and democracy, he was speaking for all of us. The damn White House never, ever should have tried to walk it back. I'm glad Biden said what he said. It wasn't a gaffe. Amen. I'm glad he stood by it the other day.
I have a tweet up on the screen of yours where you said all the president's smart people didn't want Reagan to say, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. And all the president's smart people wish Biden hadn't said, for God's sake, this man can't remain in power. All the president's smart people are often wrong. This was a fire tweet. Well done.
Well, thank you. And again, you and I may disagree on Reagan, but all of his advisors did not want him to say that. And he said, screw it, I'm going to say it. Biden the same way.
Now, I have this up here on the screen. This is a tweet you posted a few days ago. You said, I'm excited to be working with my friend True Facts Stated, that's Claude Taylor, on this effort to help the Ukrainian people defend themselves. An unarmed tank-killing drone. Support us. Details soon. And then I saw this graphic, this kill a tank thing. Is this real? What's the deal with this?
Yeah, we raised enough money to supply the Ukrainian military with a tank-killing drone. And so they are going to get their hands on that tank-killing drone, or they're going to get the money that was raised to be earmarked exactly for it. I love the idea because, again, and Claude Taylor, who's like you, a great progressive. We all have to do what we can to help these Ukrainian people fighting for freedom. Here was a really easy way to do it. An unarmed drone that specifically kills Russian tanks. I'm excited about it.
How long did that take for you guys to raise the money for that?
2 days.
In
fact, I think we raised enough to purchase 2 tank killing drones. So
how much is
it went really well.
What's the price tag on one drone?
I'm going to say about $6,000 to $7,000.
That's cheap. I would have thought it was like 3 times as much.
No,
it's relatively cheap.
These things they look like that in that graphic, but yeah, $6,000 to $7,000 per.
I think that's a really cool idea and a great way to support the effort there.
Yeah.
We're now up to the segment of the show where our viewers would like to ask you some questions directly to you. And we've got one from Punxsutawney Mo. It's from Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, who wants to know, taking your track record for incendiary and inflammatory comments into consideration, why should anyone trust you?
There's no reason you should trust me. I can't convince anybody to trust me. I would just say this. I lost everything 5 years ago because of what I did. That's a pretty stupid thing to do if you don't believe in what you're doing. So, but again, I can't convince everybody.
All right. We'll take that. And the next one is from Lee Saunders, who wants to know, do you ever regret being a Republican? And is the GOP RIP now?
No, I don't regret being a Republican. It was always the party closer to my philosophy. I do believe the Republican Party is done. I think it is a dying national political party. It will become a strong rural regional party. I think it's done.
This next question is from Brooklyn Wifey, and she would like to know, that's my wife. She would like to know, is MAGA here to stay? And if so, can democracy survive?
MAGA is here to stay because MAGA is now the Republican Party. Can democracy survive? I'll give an honest answer. I don't know. I think that is the question, and we won't know for a few years. But again, that's why this is such an urgent and scary time.
Wow. Okay, Joe, this is now my favorite part of the show. I think I told you about this. This is the guessing game. This is where I'm going to give you a choice of four different categories. The first one is guess that 60s song. Second one is name that 80s tune. The third one is name that movie theme. And the fourth one is name that TV commercial jingle. You get to pick one of those categories.
Damn, I suck at this. I'm gonna throw a curveball your way. Give me the TV commercial jingle.
Ah, interesting.
I'm clueless about a lot of this.
All right, cool. So how this works is that I'm going to either hum or sing the jingle. You have to identify the product or service that is being advertised. Now, if you get it right, then here, let's pop this up here. If you get it right, then we'll show something like this, an approving graphic. Yeah. If you get it wrong, then we're not so happy about that. Yeah. The judgy look, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, here's the first one. 800-588-2300, blah, blah.
Empire rugs or carpet?
Oh!
Boom! Boom! Boom!
Wait a minute.
Yeah, baby.
You get not only the cowbell, but you get the look of approval. There you get that from Leonardo DiCaprio. You got that correct. Well done, my friend. That was Empire. Okay, let's see. Here's the next one. Hang on. Let me just put this up here. Let me just make sure I got this right. Okay, here's the next one. And a little bit of chicken fried. Cold beer on a Friday night. A pair of jeans that fit just right. And the radio.
Oh, I know that song. Applebee's. I can't think.
Oh, shit.
Did I get it? My friend, I guessed. What the fuck?
Dude, I'm quite impressed by that shit. No. Yeah, you got that right.
I recognize the song. Oh my God.
That was well done. Very well done. I was surprised you got that one.
By the way, you're on a roll. Renditions you're doing with these.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. The next one is quick, so you're going to have to listen carefully.
Give it to me one more time. Da 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 da. No. Old Spice.
Holy shit, dude!
That was tough. Oh my God, I can't believe I got that.
Dude.
Old Spice.
You're on a roll. Yeah, no, right now, I'm telling you, the viewers are going ape shit right now.
This is not like me. This is weird.
You're on a roll. You're the guy who said you're horrible at this.
I'm horrible.
Okay, here's the next one. You ready?
Yeah.
Every kiss begins with blah.
Like Jared Jewelry's at Jared Jewelry Store.
Boom, boom, boom. Wah. So sorry.
Damn. Every kiss.
We were looking for every kiss begin. Wait, damn it. It's not there, but every kiss begins with K.
Ah.
Yeah, is what we were looking for. Okay, so we're going to give you
wow.
This one here. So sorry.
Ah.
All right, hang on. Let me just cue us back up. Huh. Oh, it was this one. Damn it. It was
K Jewel. I knew it was a jewelry store. Damn.
Yeah.
Good one. You got me.
Okay, hang on. Let me just put it back here and. Okay, here's the next one. Are you ready?
Yep.
Blah, blah, you got just what I need.
Da, 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 da. Blah, blah, blah. And you got just oh, I know that. Nah, nah, you got just what I need. Progressive insurance. I don't know.
I'm so sorry. I think I might have jinxed you there. This was
Wayfair.
Wayfair, you got just what I need. And it's tough because, you hear these things all the time. You never think that you're going to be quizzed on what commercial is what.
Right.
So
that's cool.
Here we go. This one, I think you got this next one here. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. Blah, got nuts.
Almond Joy's got nuts. Mars don't. Right?
Yeah.
Give it to me. I don't know if it's Almond Joy or Mars. Almond Joy's got nuts. Mars don't.
Yeah. Almond Joy's got real dark chocolate, crunchy nut, and coconuts too. Mars got deep chocolate and chewy coconut. Ooh.
Back in the W column.
All right, let's see. Okay, here's the next one. What would you do for a blah, blah, blah?
No fucking clue. Preparation H. I have no clue. What the hell is that?
We're looking for a Klondike bar. What would you do for a Klondike bar? All right. And so we'll give you this one here. We've got Kevin Hart giving you the look of judgment there. Right. And let's see. We're almost done with these guessing games here. Okay. Next one, you ready?
Yep.
The very best part of waking up
is Folgers in your cup. Boom! Give it to me. Yes! 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 That's because I'm an old white guy, drink a lot of coffee. That was easy. That was easy. You took some pity on me with that one.
No, that was good.
You gave me an easy one.
I don't get people singing these along with me. That was funny.
Oh,
Very
you
good.
set me up there, my friend.
Okay. All right. Wait. Let's give you a special one for that. That one gets the that one gets the SpongeBob.
SpongeBob.
Hooray. Okay. Here's the last one. Last one here. That was the Folgers. Oh, I wish I were a blah, 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 blah. That is what I truly like to be.
Because if I were an Oscar Mayer
Wiener.
Everybody would be in love with me. Boo!
Well done. I think you...
what was my record?
Let's see. Hang on. Let me do a tally right now. You got 1, 2, 3.
Everyone would get along with me.
5, 6. You got 6 right. Well done.
That wasn't easy, man. That wasn't easy.
Let's see.
I had to reach down.
We're going.
There we go. There, I got it.
All right. So last but not least, my friend, we have this thing that I like to call my favorite things. And basically, that is just me. This is rapid fire now.
Okay.
Rapid fire. Okay. You cannot get any wrong answers because these are all your opinions, your whatever, your favorite things.
Cool.
Number 1, favorite junk food snack.
Doritos. Nacho
Favorite
cheese flavor.
Nacho cheese.
Yes.
Okay. Favorite TV show to binge watch?
Law and Order.
Okay. Favorite movie?
The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. It's an old
Is that a
John
movie?
Wayne, Jimmy Stewart movie.
Interesting. Okay.
You'd love it, by the way. You'd love it.
Would I? All right. I'm going to
Yes.
check it out. Favorite singer or group?
Diana Ross and/or the Supremes.
Wow. That's
Love.
Yeah, that's good. You would have done well on my 60s thing next time.
Maybe. I chickened out.
Favorite sport?
Football.
Favorite team?
Packers.
Not the Bears.
Can't stand the Bears.
Favorite dead politician?
Calvin Coolidge. There's one for you.
Why?
He believed in really small government and he only worked 6 hours a day, baby. Loved it.
Shoot, look at that. Good answer. Favorite living politician?
Favorite living politician. That's a great question. I'm going to give you a bad answer. I don't have one.
Okay, I'll take that.
I don't have one.
Favorite Twitter account?
Besides yours,
Yes.
I would say, and I disagree with him a lot, like I disagree with you, the Horse Whisperer.
We just had him on the show a couple of weeks ago.
I find him always interesting.
Yeah, agreed. Same. Batman or Iron Man?
Oh, Iron Man all the way. I had issues with Batman.
Bugs Bunny or Daffy?
Bugs.
Pizza or burgers?
Pizza all day. Thin, baby. Got to be thin.
Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Larry Bird.
No. You got to pick one of those two. Michael
Oh,
Jordan.
that
or
sucks.
LeBron?
That sucks. All right. Out of those two, I'll say Michael. No contest.
Yeah. Okay. If you could live anywhere, where would that be?
Greece.
Ooh, good one. You're the one of. For some reason, everybody says Paris, but I like your answer. I've never been to Greece, but I've seen it in pictures. It looks beautiful.
I've never been there. I've seen it in pictures like you. It looks beautiful.
Yeah. If you could do any job for one day, what would that be?
If I could do any job for one day, I would love to be a professional golfer for one day.
You play?
It's my drug. I don't get to play, but it's the most relaxing thing I do when I can play.
Okay. And last but not least, any particular charities or foundations / organizations close to your heart or that you support?
Generally, any organization or foundation that gives scholarships to low-income kids to go to high schools or colleges of their choice, and there are a bunch of them, that's the cause I most support.
Okay. So, Joe, I want to thank you once again for joining me on Storytime with BDD. I think this has been a hoot. I was really happy to have you on here. Happy to have this Joe Walsh, not Joe Walsh from 2010. I want to put up your Twitter account once again. Folks, this is at Walsh Freedom. You can find some very inspirational and insightful tweets from this man, this patriot, this man without a political party. Joe, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I really respect what you have done and your own, you've been lashing yourself for years now. I think, I think it's cool to take a break from that. At least I accept your apologies and, it took a lot for you to step out from your comfort zone, from where, you were making money and you had friends, and to step out there and say, nah, no more. You did it in a very public way. So that takes like boulder sized cojones. So I appreciate that you did that.
Or a lot of stupidity, but I thank you for what you said. And I want to say one more thing. Thank you for having me on, and thank you for what you do. And by the way, you're really good at this. This should be like a national show of yours.
Thank you, Joe. And don't go anywhere. I want to say, folks, thank you for joining me for another wonderful episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. And if you have not yet gotten your shot or your booster, please do so. Keep yourself and your family as safe as possible. If you choose to do so, wear a mask. Keep your social distance 6 feet or better. And I look forward to seeing you at the next show. Same time, same place. I love you all. Peace.